in a galaxy torn apart by the relentless battles between mighty star clans, each wielding their own advanced technologies and formidable warships. Chaos reigned supreme. Amidst this turmoil, a young heir to one of the most powerful clans emerged, determined to unite the warring factions against a looming threat that threatened to engulf them all. Zara Solaris, the daughter of the revered leader of the Solaris Clan, had grown up witnessing the devastating consequences of the endless conflicts. She had seen worlds burned to ashes, entire civilizations wiped out, and the once thriving galactic economy reduced to shambles. As she came of age and began to understand the true nature of the political landscape, Zara realized that the only way to save her people, and the galaxy as a whole, was to forge an alliance among the star clans. Each clan possessed its own unique strengths and weaknesses, with technologies and warships that were the envy of the galaxy. The Solaris Clan was renowned for their mastery of energy weapons, their ships equipped with devastating plasma cannons and ion torpedoes. The Zephyr Clan, on the other hand, specialized in stealth technology, their sleek, black ships able to slip past enemy defenses undetected. The Praxis Clan boasted the most advanced shielding systems, their ships able to withstand tremendous damage before falling in battle. Zara knew that bringing these disparate factions together would be no easy task. Generations of bad blood, ancient grudges, and competing interests had driven the clans apart, and many of the clan leaders were too proud and stubborn to consider the idea of cooperation. But Zara was determined to succeed, no matter the cost. As she set out on her mission, Zara first sought an audience with the leaders of the Zephyr Clan. Known for their cunning and subtlety, the Zephyrs were notoriously difficult to pin down. But Zara had a plan. Using her own clan's advanced sensor technology, she tracked a Zephyr ship to a remote outpost on the edge of their territory. There, she confronted the clan's enigmatic leader, a woman known only as Shade. Shade was initially dismissive of Zara's proposal, seeing no reason to ally with her former enemies. But Zara came prepared, offering a tantalizing piece of intelligence that she had gleaned from her clan spies. The Praxis Clan was developing a new type of shield technology that would render the Zephyr's stealth advantage useless. Faced with the prospect of losing their edge, Shade reluctantly agreed to consider Zara's offer of an alliance. Emboldened by this small victory, Zara next turned her attention to the Praxis Clan. Their leader, a grizzled veteran named Torgan, was known for his stubbornness and his fierce loyalty to his own people. Zara knew that appealing to his sense of honor and duty would be key to winning him over. In a daring move, Zara traveled to the Praxis homeworld and challenged Torgan to a duel. The Praxis Clan had a long tradition of settling disputes through single combat, and Zara hoped that by proving her worth as a warrior, she could earn Torgan's respect and consideration. The duel was fierce and bloody, with both combatants using their clan's signature weapons and technologies. Zara's mastery of her plasma sword was put to the test against Torgan's devastating gravity hammer, which could shatter bones and crush armor with a single blow. In the end, however, Zara emerged victorious, though badly wounded. Impressed by her bravery and skill, Torgan agreed to hear her out. Zara laid out her case for an alliance, pointing to the growing threat of the space invaders that had been sighted on the fringes of the galaxy. These mysterious beings, who seemed to command technologies far beyond anything the star clans possessed, had already destroyed several outlying settlements and seemed to be preparing for a full-scale invasion. Torgan was skeptical at first, but Zara presented him with evidence gathered by the Solaris Clan's long-range scouts. The invaders' ships were vast and alien, with strange organic-looking hulls that pulsed with an eerie green light. Their weapons were even more terrifying, able to rip through the strongest shields and hulls like paper. Faced with this undeniable threat, Torgan reluctantly agreed to join forces with the Solaris and Zephyr clans. Together, they began to reach out to the other star clans, urging them to put aside their differences and unite against the common enemy. It was a slow and painful process, with many of the clans resistant to the idea of cooperation. Some, like the belligerent Raxan clan, refused outright, believing that they could stand against the invaders on their own. Others, like the reclusive Vadia clan, were hesitant to get involved in what they saw as a foreign conflict. But Zara persisted, using every tool at her disposal to bring the clans together. She brokered trade agreements, negotiated treaties, and even arranged marriages between the clans to strengthen their ties. Slowly but surely, a coalition began to form, with more and more clans joining the alliance as the threat of the invaders grew more pressing. Finally, with the bulk of the star clans united under her banner, Zara turned her attention to the final piece of the puzzle, the Raxan clan. Led by the notorious warlord Karen Raxan, they were the most powerful and aggressive of the clans, with a massive fleet of heavily armed warships at their command. Zara knew that convincing Karen to join the alliance would be her greatest challenge yet. The warlord was infamous for his pride and his disdain for weakness, and he saw the alliance as nothing more than a collection of frightened children huddling together for safety. But Zara had an ace up her sleeve. Using her clan's advanced surveillance technology, she had uncovered evidence that the invaders had already infiltrated the Raxan clan's ranks, using mind control technology to subvert key officials and sabotage their defenses. If Karen didn't act soon, his entire clan could fall to the invaders without a fight. Armed with this knowledge, Zara confronted Karen in his own throne room, surrounded by his loyal guards and advisors. She laid out the evidence before him, showing him the extent of the invaders' infiltration and the danger his clan was in. At first, Karen was enraged, accusing Zara of lies and treachery. But as she continued to present her case, his anger slowly gave way to a grim realization. He had been betrayed from within, and his clan was vulnerable. If he didn't act now, everything he had fought for could be lost. In a moment of grudging respect, Karen agreed to join the alliance, pledging his clan's considerable resources and firepower to the cause. With the Raxan clan on board, the alliance was complete, and the Star clans were ready to face the invaders head-on. The final battle was fought in the skies above the Solaris Clan's homeworld, where the invaders had launched a massive assault in an attempt to crush the alliance once and for all. The combined fleets of the Star clans met them in a titanic clash, with thousands of ships filling the void with the flashes of weapons fire and the debris of shattered hulls. Zara led the charge in her own flagship, the Phoenix, a sleek and deadly vessel equipped with the most advanced weapons and shields the Solaris clan could devise. She fought with a fierce determination, rallying her allies and inspiring them to greater heights of courage and sacrifice. The battle raged for hours, with both sides taking heavy losses. The invaders' ships were incredibly tough, with hulls that could regenerate and weapons that could slice through shields like a hot knife through butter. But the alliance had its own strengths, with each clan bringing its unique technologies and tactics to bear. The Zephyr clan's stealth ships darted in and out of the fray, planting explosives on the invaders' hulls and disappearing before they could be targeted. The Praxis clan's heavily shielded battleships soaked up tremendous punishment, drawing the invaders' fire away from their more vulnerable allies. And the Raxan clan's devastating plasma lances tore through the invaders' ships like a scythe through wheat, leaving nothing but molten slag in their wake. In the end, it was Zara who struck the decisive blow. Using a prototype weapon developed by the Solaris clan's top scientists, she managed to penetrate the invaders' command ship's defenses and deliver a crippling blow to its power core. The resulting explosion tore the ship apart from within, sending shockwaves through the invaders' fleet and throwing them into disarray. Seizing the opportunity, the Alliance pressed their advantage, driving the invaders back and forcing them to retreat. It was a hard-fought victory, with countless lives lost on both sides, but in the end, the Star clans emerged triumphant. In the aftermath of the battle, the Alliance set about rebuilding and strengthening their defenses, knowing that the invaders could return at any time. But they also began to look to the future, with a newfound sense of unity and purpose. Under Zara's leadership, the Star clans began to work together in ways they never had before. They shared technologies and resources, established trade routes and diplomatic ties, and even began to explore the possibility of a more permanent political union. It was a new era for the galaxy, one born of the fires of war and the unbreakable bonds of alliance. And at the center of it all was Zara Solaris, the visionary leader who had brought the Star clans together and led them to victory against the greatest threat they had ever faced. As she looked out over the stars from the bridge of her flagship, Zara knew that the road ahead would not be easy. There would be new challenges to face, new enemies to confront, and new sacrifices to be made. But she also knew that the Star clans were stronger together than they ever could be apart, and that with their combined strength and determination, there was nothing they couldn't achieve. With a smile on her face and a fire in her heart, Zara set a course for the future, ready to lead her people into a new age of peace, prosperity, and unity. The war of the Star clans was over, but the real work was just beginning. As the Star clans began to rebuild and reshape their galaxy, Zara found herself at the center of a new political order. She was hailed as a hero by the people of the clans, and many looked to her for guidance and leadership in the uncertain times ahead. But not everyone was happy with the new status quo. There were those who resented Zara's influence and power, seeing her as a threat to their own ambitions. Chief among these was Karen Raxon, the warlord of the Raxon clan. Though he had grudgingly joined the alliance to fight the invaders, Karen had never fully trusted Zara or the other clan leaders. He saw the alliance as a temporary necessity, not a permanent solution, and he chafed at the idea of submitting to a centralized authority. As the Star clans began to discuss the formation of a new galactic government, Karen saw his opportunity to seize power. He began to secretly build up his own forces, recruiting disaffected warriors from other clans and stockpiling weapons and ships. At the same time, he started to sow discord and dissent among the other clans, playing on old rivalries and grievances to turn them against each other. He whispered that Zara was a tyrant in the making, that she would use her newfound power to crush anyone who opposed her. Zara, for her part, was not blind to the growing tensions within the alliance. She knew that Karen was up to something, but she couldn't prove it without risking a new civil war. She tried to keep the peace as best she could, mediating disputes and promoting cooperation between the clans. But Karen's influence was growing and his agents were everywhere. They infiltrated the other clans' ranks, sabotaging their ships and stealing their secrets. They assassinated key leaders and sowed chaos and confusion wherever they went. Finally, the tensions reached a breaking point. In a surprise attack, Karen's forces struck at the heart of the alliance, targeting Zara's flagship and the leaders of the other clans. The attack was swift and brutal, catching the alliance off guard and inflicting heavy casualties. Zara barely escaped with her life. Her ship badly damaged and many of her closest allies dead or captured. She fled to a secret base on the fringes of Solaris territory, where she began to gather what remained of her forces. She knew that Karen would not stop until he had conquered the entire galaxy, and that the only way to stop him was to fight back with everything she had. But the alliance was in tatters and many of the other clans were hesitant to join her, fearful of Karen's growing power. Zara realized that she needed a new strategy, one that would not only defeat Karen but also unite the Star clans behind a common cause. She began to reach out to the leaders of the other clans, urging them to put aside their differences and join forces once again. She also began to search for new allies, ones who could bring fresh ideas and resources to the fight. She reached out to the mysterious Vadia clan, who had remained neutral in the previous conflict, and to the remnants of the invaders' forces who had been left behind after their defeat. To her surprise, she found that not all of the invaders were the monsters she had once thought them to be. Some of them were refugees, fleeing the tyranny of their own leaders and seeking a new home in the stars. Others were simply soldiers, following orders they didn't fully understand. Zara saw an opportunity to turn these former enemies into allies, and she began to negotiate with their leaders. She offered them a place in the new galactic order, a chance to build a better future together. At the same time, she began to study the invaders' technology, hoping to find new weapons and defenses that could turn the tide against Karen. She discovered that their ships were powered by a strange, pulsing energy that seemed to defy the laws of physics, and that their weapons were capable of tearing through the strongest shields like tissue paper. With the help of the Vadia clan's top scientists, Zara began to reverse engineer these technologies, adapting them for use by the Alliance. She also began to train her warriors in new tactics and strategies, ones that could exploit Karen's weaknesses and turn his own strengths against him. Finally, after months of preparation, Zara was ready to strike back. She gathered her forces and set out to confront Karen, determined to end his reign of terror once and for all. The final battle was fought in the heart of Raxon territory, where Karen had built a massive fortress to defend his ill-gotten gains. The Alliance fleet, now bolstered by the ships and warriors of the invaders and the Vadia clan, attacked with a fury that shocked even Karen's most loyal followers. Zara led the charge, piloting a new ship that she had designed herself, one that combined the best of the invaders' technology with the Solaris clan's own innovations. She fought with a skill and ferocity that inspired her allies and struck fear into the hearts of her enemies. The battle raged for days, with neither side giving an inch. Karen's forces were well entrenched and heavily armed, and they fought with the desperation of those who knew they had nothing left to lose. But the Alliance had the advantage of numbers and technology, and they slowly began to turn the tide. They blasted through Karen's defenses, disabling his ships and sending his warriors fleeing in terror. In the end, it came down to a final showdown between Zara and Karen himself. The two leaders faced each other on the bridge of Karen's flagship, their blades flashing in the dim light of the failing ship. Charon was a formidable opponent, his skills honed by a lifetime of warfare and his anger fueled by a desperate need for power. But Zara was faster, stronger, and more determined than ever before. She had the weight of the galaxy on her shoulders, and she would not let Charon stand in the way of the future she had fought so hard to build. In a final, desperate lunge, Zara struck Charon down, her blade piercing his heart and ending his reign of terror once and for all. As the warlord fell, his forces scattered, their will to fight broken by the loss of their leader. The alliance had won, but the cost had been high. Many brave warriors had fallen in the battle, and the scars of the conflict would take years to heal. But as Zara looked out over the wreckage of Charon's fortress, she knew that it had all been worth it. The galaxy was free from tyranny and oppression, and the star clans were united as never before. They had a chance to build a new future, one based on cooperation and mutual respect, rather than conflict and conquest. Zara knew that the road ahead would not be easy, and that there would be many more challenges to face in the years to come. But she also knew that the star clans were stronger together than they ever could be apart, and that with their combined strength and determination, they could achieve anything. As she set course for home, Zara felt a sense of hope and purpose that she had never known before. She had started as the heir to a single clan, but she had become the leader of a galaxy, the one who had brought the star clans together and led them to a brighter future. And she knew that, whatever challenges lay ahead, she would face them head-on, with the courage and determination that had brought her this far. For she was Zara Solaris, the uniter of the star clans, and her legend would endure for generations to come. In the years that followed the defeat of Charon Raxon, Zara Solaris worked tirelessly to build a new galactic order based on the principles of cooperation, equality, and mutual respect. She traveled from one end of the galaxy to the other, meeting with the leaders of the star clans and forging new alliances and treaties. Under her guidance, the clans began to share their knowledge and resources more freely, collaborating on new technologies and innovations that would benefit them all. They established new trade routes and cultural exchanges, breaking down the barriers that had once divided them. Zara also worked to address the underlying issues that had led to the conflicts of the past. She recognized that many of the star clans had legitimate grievances and concerns, and she sought to address them through diplomacy and compromise. She established a new system of galactic governance, one that gave each clan a voice in the decisions that affected them all. She created a council of clan leaders who would meet regularly to discuss issues of common concern and work together to find solutions. At the same time, Zara knew that the galaxy was still a dangerous place, and that the star clans needed to be prepared for any new threats that might arise. She continued to build up the alliance's military strength, investing in new ships and weapons that could defend against any enemy. She also kept a close eye on the remnants of the invaders' forces, who had scattered to the far reaches of the galaxy after their defeat. While many of them had chosen to join the alliance and build new lives for themselves, others remained a potential threat, their motives and intentions unknown. Zara knew that she couldn't let her guard down, even as she worked to build a new era of peace and prosperity. She maintained a constant state of vigilance, always ready to respond to any new danger that might emerge. As the years passed, Zara's legend only grew. She became known as the wise and just ruler of the galaxy, the one who had brought the star clans together and led them to a brighter future. People spoke of her with reverence and awe, and her name became synonymous with hope and unity. But Zara herself never lost sight of the challenges that still lay ahead. She knew that the galaxy was a vast and complex place, and that there would always be new obstacles to overcome and new enemies to face. One of the greatest challenges came from within the alliance itself. As the star clans grew more prosperous and powerful, some began to chafe under the constraints of the new galactic order. They saw Zara's vision of cooperation and equality as a threat to their own ambitions and desires. A new faction emerged, led by a charismatic and ruthless leader named Zoran Vex. Vex argued that the star clans should be free to pursue their own destinies without the interference of a central authority. He called for a return to the old ways of conquest and domination, where the strong ruled over the weak. At first, Zara tried to reason with Vex and his followers to show them the benefits of unity and cooperation, but Vex was a master manipulator, and he managed to sway many of the star clans to his cause. Soon the galaxy was on the brink of a new civil war, with Vex's forces poised to strike at the heart of the alliance. Zara knew that she had to act quickly and decisively to prevent another catastrophe. She rallied her own forces and set out to confront Vex, determined to stop him before it was too late. The final battle was fought on a remote planet on the edge of Solaris territory, where Vex had established his base of operations. Zara led her warriors into battle, fighting with all the skill and courage that had made her a legend. But Vex was a formidable opponent, and his forces were well prepared for the attack. They fought with a ferocity and desperation that matched Zara's own, and for a time it seemed as though the outcome of the battle was in doubt. In the end, however, Zara's superior tactics and technology won the day. She outmaneuvered Vex's forces and struck at the heart of his command center, disabling his ships and sending his warriors fleeing in disarray. Vex himself was captured and brought before Zara, his once proud demeanor now shattered by defeat. Zara looked down at him with a mixture of pity and contempt, knowing that he represented everything she had fought against for so long. But rather than execute Vex or imprison him for life, Zara chose a different path. She offered him a chance at redemption, a way to atone for his crimes and build a new life within the Alliance. To the shock of many, Vex accepted Zara's offer. He pledged his loyalty to the Alliance and vowed to work tirelessly to make amends for his past misdeeds. And to Zara's surprise, he kept his word. In the years that followed, Vex became one of Zara's most trusted advisors and allies, using his skills and knowledge to help strengthen the Alliance and protect the galaxy from new threats. Together, they worked to build a brighter future for all the star clans, one based on the principles of justice, equality, and peace. As Zara grew older, she began to reflect on her legacy and the impact she had had on the galaxy. She knew that her work was far from finished, and that there would always be new challenges to face and new obstacles to overcome. But she also knew that she had made a difference, that she had helped to shape the course of galactic history in ways that would be remembered for generations to come. And as she looked out at the stars from the bridge of her flagship, she felt a sense of pride and accomplishment that she had never known before. For she was Zara Solaris, the uniter of the star clans, the one who had brought hope and unity to a galaxy torn apart by war and strife. And her legend would endure long after she was gone, inspiring new generations to follow in her footsteps and build a better future for all. As Zara neared the end of her life, she knew that the time had come to pass the torch to a new generation of leaders. She had no children of her own, but she had mentored and trained many young warriors and diplomats over the years, each of whom had the potential to carry on her legacy. In a grand ceremony attended by representatives from every star clan, Zara announced her decision to step down as the leader of the Alliance. She had chosen a young woman named Arya Ven to succeed her, a brilliant strategist and diplomat who had distinguished herself in the service of the Alliance. As Zara handed over the reins of power to Arya, she felt a sense of peace and contentment that she had never known before. She knew that the galaxy was in good hands and that the future was bright. In her final years, Zara retired to her home planet of Solaris, where she lived a quiet life surrounded by friends and loved ones. She spent her days tending to her gardens and writing her memoirs, reflecting on the incredible journey that had brought her to this point. And when the time came for her to pass on, Zara did so with a smile on her face and a sense of deep fulfillment in her heart. She had lived a life of purpose and meaning, and she had made a lasting impact on the galaxy that would never be forgotten. As the news of Zara's passing spread throughout the star clans, people from all walks of life came together to mourn her loss and celebrate her life. They erected monuments in her honor and named new ships and colonies after her, ensuring that her memory would live on for generations to come. And as Arya Ven took up the mantle of leadership, she knew that she had big shoes to fill. But she also knew that she had been trained by the best, and that she had the strength and wisdom to carry on Zara's legacy and lead the star clans to even greater heights. For the galaxy had been forever changed by Zara Solaris, the visionary leader who had brought the star clans together and shown them the power of unity and cooperation. And though she was gone, her spirit lived on in the hearts and minds of all those who had been touched by her incredible life and legacy.